It's like, my mother told me, "Well, go in the strength you have."
Yeah.
So like whatever you just got going on, like it's good enough.
I'm trying.
Yeah. I like what you're doing. I was actually started watching the episode with Chaz like today. I'm like getting all warmed up for it.
Yeah. Dude, it's one of those things where once you get like the nervous bugs out, it's a little easier to
I
like
bet.
to talk about whatever.
Yeah.
And just being fluid with the podcast. That's the hardest thing is
Yeah.
like keeping the conversation going for like a whole hour.
Yeah.
So, but
I think that we'll do all right.
I think,
and
yeah.
if we don't, we can just.
I think
I would love. I sincerely hope we have absolutely nothing to say for part of it, and we just stare at each other for a bit.
We're going to.
I cannot wait. This is going to be great.
Yeah. So,
Do we do an intro?
yeah, we can do an
Are we
intro.
are we already doing it?
No. Well, we can. You want to do the intro?
No.
No.
Do I have a script?
No.
Oh, well.
Just wing it. Let's see what you.
All right.
Let's see what you got.
Well, which direction do I even
This
look?
is
Do I
your
look?
camera
Do
right
I
here.
look
Yeah,
directly
yeah,
into the
so,
camera?
yeah.
Welcome to the Tats All Folks podcast with Steve Oker and Skyler.
Burnham. I'm Skyler Burnham.
I'm like, do I go? I was like, do I go with my Instagram handle or my name? I'm Skyler Burnham. So
Yeah.
we'll just cut all that stuff out and just go
Yeah.
like make it really.
Speaking
obvious.
of Instagram handles, you're Zen Astray.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever found out where that came from.
It's I was just trying to come up with something cool when I first started, and I liked the idea of finding your own way to like enlightenment or your own way to like a self-actualization, and realizing that that's not something that anybody can like. You can't just like read a book and figure that out for who you are. It is like this individual thing, like only you can figure out how you are going to like achieve that like enlightenment or like that self-actualization.
He said, "Please pick me up."
So that's kind of where it came from. And then I liked the it's not alliteration, but the way that it sounded together. It's like Donnie Darko and Drew Barrymore writes cellar door on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
Zen Astray sounds like that to me.
So it's completely made up. It doesn't mean.
I mean,
anything,
well,
or,
I mean,
like,
Zen and astray are both words.
Okay,
But together, that's like it's finding out who I am
that's cool.
and needing my own way to do it.
Yeah,
Because again, nobody can tell me how to balance my own life.
yeah. I've always admired people that can come up with the Instagram handles, that aren't related to their name at all.
Yeah,
And it's kind of cool to hear the backstory behind it.
I get called Zen. It's infrequently, but like it's just enough to be weird.
Yeah,
So like
I love that one you did recently, the ashtray.
yeah.
Yeah,
the sticker. Yeah, because everybody tells me that the first time that they saw my name on Instagram that it's like I thought it was Zen Ashtray.
I
Or
did
and-
too. Yeah,
and then the next one was like Zen Ashtray is just how everybody enunciates
Ashtray.
it. Yeah, so
like booty.
so it's in the works. I'm gonna make a little charcuterie board of butts.
That's gonna be funny.
It'll
I
give me
love
I'm trying to. I'm still kind of head drawing that one, like thinking about it, figuring out how I'm gonna do it. I'm thinking more of like a sashimi type of sushi setup
Yeah.
with a whole bunch of butts on it.
Yeah, that's fun.
Just because I mean it gets screwed up enough, I might as well laugh about it. So
Yeah, totally.
because I could take it personally, or like if somebody if somebody spells your name wrong, like they can like you can correct them, but there's a point where you get tired of it.
I know
So
that
it's-
all too well.
Yeah, so
Yeah, my last name Oker, dude. No one ever gets it right.
yeah,
Yeah.
OCHRE. That's right.
Fat or OAKER or Ocker or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, nobody ever gets it right.
Yeah.
Which, not for lack of trying, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also the simplest way to spell it, in my opinion.
I know. We can talk about some of the topics if you want.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go right into it.
I know. I mean, cover-ups.
Yeah,
That's one that you're notorious for.
Mhm.
I know I've sent you some
some gnarly ones.
Some gnarly, crazy ones.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name? We both tattooed him. Wasn't so much like a tattoo cover up as it was the scar cover up. That was like his whole torso.
Was his name Kelly?
Kelly, I think. Yeah. That was impressive. How he did that one.
The scar cover up.
Yeah, the big.
It was the big like skull thing.
Yeah.
He asked me to do a back piece, which I also did like in back to back days. I started and finished his whole back in 3 days, which was a challenge.
Yeah.
But for the cover ups, like there's like not a couple of rules, but there's a couple of things that have helped me and served me well over the years. And breaking it down simply, there's really only 2 weapons that you have with a cover up. It's the design. You figure out like something to manipulate texture or shadows or something. Just be super clever about figuring out where there's empty spots in the tattoo, like the old one. If there's light skin or a line that breaks, and like you have to be able to account for that and use it. So pulling your hair out in the design aspect is like step 1, and then step 2 is just overwhelming that old color, which like if it's solid black, you can go over it with a bunch of white, but that's not always going to be like the best, or you can't.
Yeah, because you can only manipulate the skin with pigments so many times before it kind of muddies.
It's got to heal quite a bit. Like I personally like a month in between my sessions, or at least where I'd go over the same exact skin again, just to make sure that if I chew something up or go a little bit too hard, that it has enough time to heal. But I'll go over black with white as many times as I can before I go with the new color. So you can overwhelm black, but like you can really only overwhelm it with like the blues, greens, purples, and blues, and gray.
Yeah. Gray works surprisingly well for
it's
cover-ups.
super well.
It's like one of my favorite colors to use in a cover-up.
Yeah, because
neutral, I guess.
Yeah, because it makes because say you put any one of your designs over top of a solid black thing and just did it in gray, it's gonna read all right. Like it's not gonna be amazing if it's solid black and then you're not doing anything other than just using opaques.
Yeah,
like it'll still do some work for you, but either way, those are the 2 weapons that I pretty much always like rely on for those cover-ups.
Yeah.
And my art style is so it's not so rigid like traditional, so it makes it a little bit easier to go over stuff like that. I feel like my style has a little bit like I can custom tailor it a little bit sharper and render some stuff out a little bit, because I'm not quite realism, I'm not quite neo-trad. I don't know.
I don't even know where you are. You're like in your own dimension with your stuff.
I feel like I'm a comic book artist that is a tattooer.
Yeah.
I don't know, which is cool, but also like kind of, I don't know, it just makes me different.
Which is, I mean, you stand out in that aspect.
I'm also a really hard sell.
Yeah.
Which is
your shit's weird.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's fucking awesome.
Thank you.
It appeals to a certain type of client.
Yeah. I feel like the people that end up like glomming on to me are like forced to hang out with me in some capacity for a while before they figure it out. Then they find out that I'm cool. But up front, I'm like I'm kind of weird and mysterious, and then
kind of like your artwork.
Yeah,
it matches. It matches art. Yeah. It matches the artist.
I will take that as an accolade for my art. If it's weird and mysterious, I like that. I'll take it forever. So, but it is hard to try and tell people like when people are asking me like, what kind of colors are you going to use? And I'm like, I don't know. Blue, but the way that I deal with color is I mean, I have my own kind of view of color theory and stuff like that. I like playing with complementary colors a lot, and then like contrasting value. Those are really my big weapons there. But trying to explain how you're gonna what's purple to golden orange gonna look like as a color fade, like what color's in the middle. I don't know. It's like, how much yellow did you use? Like, is it yellow and purple? Yeah, but like trying to explain to somebody that your tattoo is going to be some weird, like if you look at any of my tattoos online or whatever, I mean, you've seen them.
Oh yeah.
Like, what color is your back tattoo?
It's one of my favorite tattoos I have, though. I think it's turquoise and pink. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah. Again,
my that
you
one's
know.
my go-to, like my turquoise, teal, and pink.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. But then also, but I color mix a whole lot of stuff, so it gets a little bit um, hard to explain that to people, like what I'm gonna do, or like it's like, or when people message me about like, it's like, what's my design gonna look like, or can you send it to me? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Never, no, never. Because whenever I do that, like, I feel like my stuff is so open to critique. Like, it's really difficult to try.
I never send out artwork to people
I,
just because they're gonna show 100 other people that don't understand what you have going on,
mm-hmm.
and by the time they come in for their appointment, they've wanted to change it now 5 or 6 times,
Yeah,
and coming from an artistic standpoint, it then loses its magic and its charm and what it was originally meant to be. I will say nowadays, though, like people are more and more open to artist interpretation and just giving you the reins and
mm-hmm.
like saying, go do your thing.
Yeah. I
Which is
think
nice.
well, I mean, with your style of work, like just a thing we were talking about earlier, your specialization into like not new school, Art Nouveau, neo-trad. There we go. That's the word I was looking for.
It was in there somewhere.
It's rolling around. Anyway, but like with that kind of label on there, it's a lot easier to try and like, it's like, this is kind of the thing that I do. Like there's a label on what you're doing.
Yeah, Neotrad. I mean, it's easier to send someone to Google or Pinterest and then them type in Neotrad and get somewhat of a blanketed idea of what they're gonna get.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
And
obviously that's fine tuned, but with you, you don't really have a style.
I
per
mean, like
se.
the people that I really like, that I look up to, like I like Curtis Burgess, I like Noah Moore, I like Steve Moore, I like Adrian Lee, like
Yeah, you
like some
definitely
of
fall
like
in the category of all them, whatever style theirs is. You know,
Tim
them.
Adrian.
Good Kind even.
Oh yeah,
That's another
he
one
was
that
he
you're
was
like,
a huge inspiration for
yeah.
me. Like it's like watching his, because like the way that he balances like Japanese work with I don't know, his line weight choice, his placement, like it's extremely unique, and I
Yeah.
just love it. And not to mention, he's one of the nicest people I've met.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Those guys are wizards, and you are right there with them.
that is also a hell of a compliment, and I will take
Yeah.
it. If I get to be in the same room as all of those gentlemen, that would be like, it's a pretty impressive list.
Oh, definitely, dude. I mean, I look at your stuff and I know it's you immediately, and it's weird as shit, and I love it.
That's one of the things that I've always wanted in tattooing. Is like, it's like I wanted to, like, it's like when I look at one of my tattoos, like you can tell that I did it, and just from the inside out, like it's me making art. So it's like, it's hard. I don't see it. I don't
Yeah.
see it the way that people do.
I'm the same way too. Like I
Really?
have people approach me and be like, "Oh, I know it's a Steve Oker tat," and I'm like, "How?" Like I don't see that at all. Like
Because you see all of-
everything I put out. I don't know. I guess maybe because I haven't really found. I don't have like that one signature thing that I do yet.
Mhm.
Like my Neotrad is kind of.
What do you think
again,
you're missing?
I don't know. You know, like everybody kind of has their thing that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I do have a thing and I don't realize it. I don't find myself like in that box.
Like
You
where
know?
you have like, it's like, this is Steve Oker. Like this is like who
it's fucking weird. I don't know how to explain it.
we're never
but-
gonna have our own Mona Lisa.
No.
Like no one's ever
But
gonna
I
look at
feel
a
like
tattoo or a painting that you did.
every artist I've ever met that has had that. They find their little thing, it pigeonholes and it takes off.
Yeah.
Right? Every artist I've talked to personally about like how that happened, it just randomly happens. It's never a built up thing, and that's not to say that it isn't a built up thing, but everyone I've talked to, it's just like, oh yeah, this happened overnight.
The advice that I've taken about that, I got from Jed Likeness, the guy, he tattooed my leg a long time ago, and he was saying, as long as you're having fun, like then you're gonna, like, one, you're gonna be progressing, and at that point, your art style will kind of just find itself because you're having fun, or like it's like, or you just keep doing it, and then eventually, like whatever you're doing will kind of just land in a thing,
Yeah.
and like, so his advice to me was to never pay attention to your style. It's like it'll sort itself out.
I think too, like in a world of like social media and technology, I feel like it's almost harder to find your style because you're constantly seeing art all the time, especially if you're a tattooer.
Yeah.
Most tattooers, your follower list is 95% tattooers. So you're constantly seeing other styles. And I feel like that plays a big influential role in like how your style is perceived through your hand. And it's very easy to not copy per se, but like be inspired and something look like another artist did it.
Yeah.
I've had that happen to me all the time where I do something and I'll have someone comment or message me and be like, oh, that looks like so-and-so did that.
As long as it was somebody who was good.
Yeah. At the same time, it kind of is like a knife in the side. You're like, damn, dude, I'm trying to be like my own person, and like I definitely didn't reference this person or copy this person, but it just so happened that it looks like they did it. That sucks a little bit for, I wouldn't say like the ego, but like where you're trying to go with your art.
It kind of it slaps self-actualization right in the face.
It does, yeah. You're like, well, fuck
well,
Neotrad.
yeah,
I'm not
like,
doing this no more.
Go get tattooed by Bobby Johnson, I guess.
Yeah. No,
yeah, go do it.
I love him to death. He's a great friend of mine. Randy Burnham. I get compared to him all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
And
not a bad person to be compared to.
Not a bad person to be compared to at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, damn, bro, I can't have one win, like it's hard.
I know that I think if you started using cooler tones, like it's like because he just runs over like the reds, oranges, yellows, like that's like his thing.
And those
like,
are my favorite color.
I know.
I hate using cool tones in tattoos. I don't know.
Amen.
I don't know what it is about it. And it's not that like they don't work well or they're not tattooable. It's just for me as an artist, I've just fallen in love with the warmer color palette. Yeah.
Yeah. I stay away from blue and purple like they're the plague. But like teal and turquoise, like those ones are just blue enough that like you can kind of get that blue aesthetic without ever having to actually touch.
You go in my drawer
blue.
right now. Like I don't have a solid blue. I don't have a solid purple. I have like off blue, off purple, like that, like turquoise and like antique fuchsia.
Yeah.
That's about as blue and purple as I'll get.
As I ever want to even touch. Yeah. Like
the only exception is if someone comes to me for like a blue jay, then I might. And it's only because I love birds and nature and all that stuff.
Yeah, so you have your one bottle of like robin's egg or whatever blue is from
sky blue,
whatever company that you decide to purchase from. That's that middle of the road blue, not royal blue.
I hate royal blue.
Yeah,
I do not like
it's
that color.
such a gross
that one.
color.
I don't like that. I don't like any of the. I don't even like any of the concentrates. I don't know if you've ever used those from.
I've only used solids as and I like theirs for not much. There's like it's like they're fun to color mix. Like it was like it let me play with like color theory and color mixing a lot. But like actual implementation was kind of silly. But
where were we at? I've lost my train of thought.
We started with cover-ups, and then I think we pretty much beat that one into the ground. That was as far as we needed to go.
Like using the flow of what's there to like create something new. Like that. I'm the same way with that.
Like, have you ever just like scribbled on a page and then tried to figure out what is already there?
Yeah, it's like I've like the paint splotch or the splotches when you go to like therapy.
Stuff?
Yeah, kind of like that. Where you, but I don't do cover-ups that much anymore. Here and there.
Admittedly, I don't think your style really lends itself to that well without laser treatments.
Yeah, and thankfully, laser treatment is one of the things that has really taken off as far as the efficiency of it
and quality and like availability.
Yeah.
It's still expensive.
What's really cool, I came across this company. I think I told you about them. They've gone through a couple ownership changes, so their name has changed, but they're Removery now. And they're a chain, so they're all over the place, but they actually provide laser treatment for artists for free. So yeah, you go in there and get as many laser treatments as you want, as long as you just shout them out and do the whole social media thing.
It's a steep price for me.
I know. Free.
No, social media stuff.
Oh.
Like it's like
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about me. I'm not on social media very often.
No, you're not.
What'd you
Like,
get lasered?
I got my whole arm laser.
Well, I know. I mean, you got some of it, but like, but I didn't know that you'd been doing it through them for that long.
Yeah. Actually, it was relatively fast. 4 sessions is all it took
Mm-hmm.
before I was able to get the cover up.
Yeah, that's about what I did for my ribs
Yeah.
too. I mean, like 4 sessions is enough for a good cover up. As
Yeah.
like a more blast over too, because
Your side
Yeah.
is one of the most impressive cover ups I have ever seen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mara is an impressive tattooer.
Insane.
Passion, poor taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great, and she's a
great.
dear friend of mine too.
Yeah.
But I originally wanted, like, she drew this just righteous turtle, and I was gonna get that on my ribs instead, and then I'm like, I started having not dreams, but just like I think I need Fudo. I think I need a Fudo, and it was like, hey, Mara, I don't think I need a turtle anymore.
Whoa.
Dude, you're getting buttered up for midget wrestling, dude,
Woo. Yeah.
or some long eye contact.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got 4 sessions on my ribs, and my rib tattoo was enormous. Like, so it was that was, and it was one of those
That's
painful things I've
impressive.
done. That hurt a
Yeah.
lot because like mostly like the other laser sessions that I've gotten on like my inner arm, like they were spicy, but it's like 5-10 minutes and you're done. Like that one was an hour, and I was like trauma response crying in
I
no
have this.
time, dude. It hurt. I was like, I like to think that I'm tough, and that one leveled me pretty good.
I know. I was considering it because I have this gnarly, really bad piece on my ribs.
Mm-hmm.
And after seeing you go through that and hearing about it, I'm like, I don't know. I might just black it out. You know?
or talk to me about it.
I
I'll
don't know.
go over it.
Hey,
I'll
just
figure out something.
Come with me. Hold my hand.
I will. If you need that, I would totally do that.
Yeah, I
like,
would definitely need it. 'Cause
And there would be absolutely, like, I hope you know that would be the softest place. Like, I would be so gentle around that because it was, because like, I mean, I had Ashley to help me go, like, to drive me down there, because the place
Yeah.
that I went down was in Fort Myers when I did it. So it was
where
like,
did you end up going for yours?
it was called Tat Cemetery.
Okay,
The business doesn't exist anymore. It had some stuff happen, which
Gotcha, okay.
whatever, but they're not there anymore. But I went down there for all 4 sessions, and I tried numbing, I tried everything, and the numbing barely took the edge off. It didn't do it.
So
It
doesn't-
barely did
yeah.
anything.
I've done it with and without it, and I can't notice. I never noticed the difference.
Hmm. The
at all.
cold air is the only thing that's like, it's the
Yeah.
best. Like, if they don't have cold air, and the last time that I went, they didn't.
Ooh,
And that was, dude, that was like, that was brutal. That was brutal. Well, does that have what I think it has in it?
No. No.
A good time. Can I have some?
Yeah.
Can I have some?
Yeah. We're all friends here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Labelless drinks. Because nothing tastes better than not getting sued.
Oh man.
But the laser stuff, I do recommend for cover ups and stuff. It makes
Yeah.
my job I don't really necessarily need it, but like my style also is pretty open to for cover ups.
Well, when it comes to cover-ups, if you do the laser, you're automatically guaranteed a better cover-up.
You just get more options.
You know, yeah. Like,
Mhm.
hey, here you have to do this giant black raven over top of this. Whereas if you get 2 sessions of laser, it's like, oh, well, now your options open up
Mhm.
to a lot more.
I had a client not too long ago. He wanted like a jujitsu themed tattoo, and his requirements for the art were pretty specific, and I kept telling him that like what he wanted very specifically wasn't going to do well for the cover up. So like it's like, and like we eventually got to this point where I told him, it's like, the only thing to do here, if you want what you tell me that you want and you're pretty adamant about it, the next step is to go get lasered. That's it. Because like, I mean, I'll do it, but it's not going to be great. And then I'll let you choose your own adventure once you have all the facts.
Yeah.
So, and then he went and had it lasered a couple of times. Another fun fact that I've found to be pretty accurate was that if after you get a laser treatment, then your body will still process that ink for up to about 6 months afterwards, and your tattoo will continue to lighten up. So if you wait longer in between your sessions, you have to go less times.
Yes.
And If you tattoo over it, it will push that out too.
Yep.
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 So for about 6 months, So it's like, so just like, so, but if you're doing session work on something, like it's going to take, I mean, I'll jump in on it. Like you get it lasered, as soon as it's healed, I'll go over it, because then at that point, if you're doing a sleeve, a back piece, a rib piece, something that you're going to be into 2 or 3 times before it's done, then.
But that too, like when it comes to like clients and artists, I think it's important to know when to say no and walk the other way, whether you're the artist or the client. There's been many times where I've told a client no. I'm like, I'm not the guy for you, but this guy might be, and also like I've had clients straight up tell me no, and it's like, that's fine, like I'm not your guy. This is forever.
I really struggled getting to that kind of honesty with my clients. Like when they like the first, I've been tattooing for about 14 years. So I mean, but even realistically, probably the first 12 years of my career, I really had a hard time telling people no and telling them where to go. Like I just tried to do everything and people please really hard.
Same. Yeah, I think I was probably about the same time in, like 12 years maybe, before I was like, and I think it was more so when I found like my niche, but at the same time, it got to the point where I was in a position and working in a shop where I could say no. You and I have talked about that. I grew up in street shops, and if you said no, like the owner was pissed at you, because that's money walking out the door. And that kind of sucks as an artist, that you're forced to do something that you're not comfortable with.
It makes you learn is the one bright side, but the rest of it
maybe
sucks,
I mean,
man.
at what, the expense of your client that might get a shitty tattoo
of your mental health. Like
Yeah.
it's like I've had to draw like Polynesian tribal sleeves, and like I can do it, but that's not the thing that
You're
like,
not.
I'm not known for it.
Exactly.
I mean, I could show you good ones that I've done,
Yeah.
but like I'm a white dude from Colorado. Like what do I know about? Like it's like
You need to be getting on a plane to an island somewhere and find yourself,
or just find somebody that that was on the island and
Yeah.
isn't now, like,
or knows the island or knows the history.
anything.
anything.
It's
Yeah.
like, believe it or not, Longmont,
Um,
Colorado's not the hub for Polynesian tribal.
No. Yeah. No. I mean, shame on you for
Being born
Doing
in the
it?
wrong spot. No, I
no.
just think
No. Shame on the artist for doing something you're not comfortable with or good at, and also shame on the client for not knowing when to say no and walk away.
I don't know.
Yeah, just fucking walk away.
I mean, I know
like,
that now, but it took some serious fortitude.
I was ignorant, when I was in my younger years. I wanted to do everything that came through the door, and I think having the owners breathing down my neck made it a lot harder to say no. There was a couple times where I remember one specifically. This kid came in. This is like flash rack days. He came in minor with his dad, and he wanted to get his first tattoo. And I was like, well, go through the rack and figure out what you want. And he landed on like a tribal lion of sorts. I mean, one of the dumbest ones up there. Like
First page of Google stuff.
I'm like, I could show you a Boog tattoo that's gonna be way cooler, or like a David Bolt butterfly, like. But
that guy's awesome.
The kid, I could just tell that he just wanted to get tattooed because his dad said yes, and he was like, "Let me just get this shit right now," And I was like, honestly, dude, like, you're probably gonna regret that. And I said it to him. I was like, let me draw you up something way cooler, way like custom, and we'll make this thing what you really want versus just picking something off the wall. And I got pulled aside by the owner. He was like, I almost fired you over that shit, dude. Telling the client that they're going to regret their tattoo. I'm like, I'm just being honest. And I was, because that kid was 16, and that was,
I can't think of a single
that was a decade
person.
ago, dude. Like, I guarantee you that kid is thanking me that he didn't get that fucking tribal lion on his chest.
Because that would be a rough one to. I've done tribal. I did a tribal I think it was a lion and a tribal eagle on like 16-year-old kids a couple
Yeah.
of times down in Port Charlotte.
Again,
And it's like,
it's one of
one,
those
I don't
things
want to
where
be the tribal eagle, tribal lion dude. And then two, like that.
younger kids, I mean, man, even people like 18, 19, 20, you know, even younger 20s, like you may know what you want, but
I mean-
fast forward a few years, dude, I've covered up every tattoo I've gotten between the time I was 18 and like 25.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one.
I didn't get a lot of tattoos when I first started. Like, I didn't look like a tattooer until after I moved to Florida.
I had 0 tattoos when I started. I was, yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
And it's not that I didn't want them, I wanted them, but having people come in and see that I don't have tattoos, I had so many clients say they didn't want to get tattooed by me because I didn't have any tattoos. And
Really?
I respect it now. Like looking back, I'm like this young fucking 19-year-old kid with no tattoos. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't trust this kid. And
I mean,
good on you because I sucked for a long time. It was really bad. There was a point in my career where I've tattooed locally. I tattooed for the better part of a decade before I like moved away, and people would come in and be like, "Oh, you tattooed me before." I'm like, "When?" Like, "Oh, it was when you were at Stu's Tattoos," and I just silently walk out the back door and never come back because I don't want to see what that is. And there's been a
Really?
few. Oh yeah, yeah. There's been a few where I'm like, they show me, I'm like, you were one of the lucky ones, because man, I wish I had access to my MySpace still because I could show you some train wrecks. I posted them before. I'm sure you've maybe seen the before and afters of
I
my
think
stuff.
I think I have, but I don't have any of them
Yeah.
rolling around up here,
Man.
like at the ready. Like, but
I
I have
bad.
a photograph of almost every tattoo that I've ever done.
But-
If it's, so I have ones from the very beginning, and like those are hard to come
It's
to terms
it's a
with,
big tough pill to swallow.
dude.
Yeah.
I
I'll have to slap. I don't know. I'll figure out how to do it, but I'll slap some like old tattoo photos up on this podcast while we're talking about it.
dude, I'll hunt
send
them.
me
I
some.
know where they are. I'll hunt
Okay,
them down.
yeah.
Like that'll be a really therapeutic day for me. It's like I'm gonna let go. It's like I'm gonna let everybody see some of the stuff that I did when I was bad. Like,
I mean,
and
all that matters is, are you better
I would
now?
say so, yes,
Yeah.
with a pretty healthy amount of confidence.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not gonna be making some of the same mistakes twice.
Yeah.
Those are some, like, putting on tattoos backwards.
Oh man.
Or did I learn that one with like a Guy Atchison inspired squid? I didn't do a lot of stuff that was faced backwards. So like the one that I did was again that squid Guy Atchison looking thing. I'll hunt it down. I'll find it.
Please
It'll
do.
take, oh man. But it's on his shin, like it's in a kind of goofy spot. Like it's not on the side of the inside of his like knee to ankle. Like it's kind of on the shin bone.
Yeah.
But like angled a little bit, and it's not a perfect profile or straight on or whatever. It's kind of like a 3/4, but it's like, so the plane is kind of 3/4 and then the design is kind of 3/4.
Oh shit. It's all wrong.
Dude, that was just a lot
Man.
of obtuse
Talking-
angles.
Talking about like things that are right and wrong. You remember the "it's for me" era that we went through?
Dude, now I just don't say it.
I have not had someone come in and say that in a long time. I even had someone want to get like a lion tattoo on their arm and have it upside down facing them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I can compromise with lettering and crosses.
I had like a
Satan
60-year-old woman,
Satan worshippers.
all of you.
When your hand's down, that cross is upside down.
Dude, I did a cross on a woman. She was about 60, and like she wanted it upside down because it was for her. And I was like, okay, and like, because like it's her tattoo. I mean, no matter how you slice it, it's hers. But anyway, but she's like, I put the stencil on, and then she's like, oh no, what if? everyone thinks it's an upside down cross. And I burst into laughter.
You're like, finally, someone fucking
That
gets it.
one, she figured it out entirely by herself.
Man.
2, I laughed uncontrollably. 3, I told her that she just tripped on the funniest thing in tattooing.
Dude, I've tried so many times to like pry that shit with a crowbar, and they're like, nope, it's for me. It's still a right side up cross.
My
I'm like,
favorite
okay.
response to it in all of my years was, "It's for you anyway."
Yeah. It really is.
It's like, if it's right side up or upside down, it's still for you.
Kaylee, come here. Come here. Come here. She has an "it's for me" tattoo. Come here. Come on. Come on. No, she really does. Come on. Come around here. Come here. Let me see. Go on. It's okay. Point exactly.
Oh man, it's
17,
there, right there,
Ready?
right through the fabric.
Here we go. Come on. Stick here. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Guys.
Love it.
Show the camera. Upside down.
I'm
cross.
so sorry.
I'm sorry. I love you so much.
She made you up at the knots when you did the cat.
Can we
Oh.
talk about that?
What? Talk
for a
about what?
second? Tattooing significant others. It is a pain. We are now, but it is.
This is a very charged topic, so
It's. I feel bad because, like, as my wife, I don't tattoo her enough. She asks all the time, and I just put it off because, like, I don't know. You don't have the best version of me yet, like, and I feel bad, but like, I don't know. And the same with like friends and family too.
I'll tattoo my friends and family. I don't mind that. It's complicated because you're emotionally invested in that, and in my experience of it, I wanted to make that person so like happy with their design that I've did stuff that I wouldn't normally do for other people, like, and it made it really difficult for me to actually to produce something good because I was so worried about it being right for that person. Like it created an obstacle for me artistically that was a very, very, very difficult challenge. And then the vulnerability of getting tattooed by somebody else that you love, like that one is tough for the other person too. Like, cause like you're vulnerable with, I mean, say like I'm tattooing my partner. For my partner, that person is like emotionally invested in me. Like they are more vulnerable than usual. So like, it's like, and I'm actively hurting them a lot. Like that is, it's difficult on both sides of that. It's not an easy thing energetically for either side. I personally do not recommend it at all. Like
It's
ever.
tough. I don't like doing it. You know, like
It's
like that with the hurting the person. Like I've seen, like she's gotten tattooed by other people.
Mm-hmm.
Sits like a fucking rock, but the second I tattoo her, she becomes the biggest baby ever. You know, and like I feel so terrible.
You're not wrong, by the way.
So terrible.
It's different.
And that's okay. You know.
I know you can feel my sympathy.
Yes,
it's like
there's
I'm like
a lot of sympathy. Like I feel so bad.
that regular barrier where it's just like, this is the nicest thing that I can do to you, and it's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, you have with regular clients, you have that emotional disconnect.
Yeah.
With a friend, family, or partner, you don't.
I'm just mechanically doing a thing for a client. To like, It's like when you're emotionally invested, it becomes dangerous. And
Yeah.
I don't recommend it ever.
Yeah. No, I don't either.
It's like, cause like, just go get tattooed by somebody else. It's great.
I'm trying. I'm like, I'll pay. Like, you
Do it. Pay more.
Oh, you want that thing to me? You want me to do that thing? I'll send you to this guy and he'll do it better.
Ever said that?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yes. Yes.
In my opinion, you are
You're
both
supposed
correct.
you're supposed to get that spoon bill by Ulyss. Remember?
I would like to.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the San Diego? It'll be a fun time.
Dude, in my experience of doing, not necessarily the exact situation that you're talking about, but but outsourcing that to other people, those experiences have been phenomenal. Like, because then they get an awesome tattoo, and then like they're not like my like they're not they don't have the same obstacles as like that emotional vulnerability. They're just like, cool, you go get tattooed by Euless, he's awesome, or Randy, or whoever else that you want to, like, because they're awesome. Just point them in the right direction is, in my experience, the best way out every time.
Every time.
All right.
On to topic number 3.
All right. So I think we've gone on focusing on style. Like I wrote to authentic specialization.
What?
That's the third
That's
one.
A really nice pen.
Yeah, I got it on Etsy.
That's really cool.
You want one?
Kinda.
I'll give it to you. Not that one.
That's really cool.
That one's mine, and mine's broken. I'll get one for you.
Yeah. No, that's really nice. Okay.
Number 3. Oh man,
art style to authentic specialization. Did you make that one up?
yes.
Okay. I
Kind
was
of.
gonna say that wasn't on my list.
No,
No, I like that
but
one.
like,
Okay.
but we talked about it a little bit beforehand.
You take the floor. Go ahead.
This is where I wanted to talk to you about it, because I feel like my style is a really hard sell, like we were talking about. So like, how are you authentic to yourself in the art that you make, and then be able to focus your clients into what you want to do?
Okay. So with that was actually a really hard sell for me, because I've always wanted to do neo-traditional, but when I started doing it, I would say it was more like American traditional inspired, heavier lines, blockier stuff. It wasn't as dynamic. But once I found Spanish and Australian and European inspiration through like Art Nouveau, then my thing kind of shifted. But it was a super hard sell because people in the States didn't know anything about it. Up until
you
recently,
had to go to like
Yeah,
Alphonse Mucha.
up until
Mucha, whatever.
and up until recently, people like didn't even know the term neo-traditional at all. Like
Art
what's
Nouveau was pretty out there too.
Yeah, they were like, what is that? You know, and I had to like explain it to them or show them. And they're like, oh, I really like that, you know. And I think because it is very nature inspired, that helps because everyone can relate to nature. Nature makes you feel a certain type of way. Whether you like it or not, you go outside, you're feeling fantastic. You are in your best state mentally.
Your blood pressure noticeably drops.
Yeah.
When you just go look at a tree for 5 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. And bringing that into tattooing, it makes it timeless. You know, you're never going to be tired of animals or nature ever. Makes it a very easy sell.
Yeah.
Versus say some weird shit or creepy shit like Paul Booth or even New School. New School is a fucking really hard sell.
They're doing it left, right, and center down in Sarasota though. I mean,
Odyssey is the one I know of.
well, yeah. Oh, but like the other shops, like Into the Woods is down in was it Dania Beach, down by Fort Lauderdale. That's Frank Linatra's shop, and then there's Joe Capobianco and like a bunch of other. Jesse Smith was one of the ones that I really liked when I first started tattooing.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to be a New School artist when I started.
I did too.
If you look back at all my old sketchbooks, it's all New School stuff. But I just could not sell it. It was not something that people
Buck teeth
wanted.
and googly eyes.
At least
is a
here,
tough thing.
you know, like again, demographic changes per where you live. You know, you go West Coast up until recently. It was all like Chicano style. I've noticed like Northeast is a lot of New School, but
dude, it's just like a hodgepodge, which is
it's
really
pretty
cool.
crazy.
Like Denver is like traditional. Period. Like that's really like the hipster tratty tats is really what a lot of what I mean, like in my experience of it, and I never fit in when I worked there more consistently.
Them is a hard sell.
I mean, it's pretty specific. Like if you want, that's when I was trying to do New School and stuff like that. And I wasn't working in a, like a famous shop or anything like that when I worked out there. So
then watercolor came out, and that was like the thing that really skyrocketed my career because at the time nobody else was doing it. Specifically, like the guys I was working with were turning it away. Like, I'm not doing that shit. Like, It's not gonna last. I was like, well, turn it into a way that it will last. You know, do harder lines and not unicorn puke, and put colors in specific areas and use color theory and make it, you know,
Still use black.
exactly. Yeah. And that's what happened with me. And I did a few pieces that ended up getting shared on like BuzzFeed, and I had like a BuzzFeed interview, and it really took off from there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. And it was all I was doing for the better part of like 3 or 4 years.
Because I think when I first heard of you at all, like I think you were still I think you were Momentum.
Okay.
When I first like realized that you existed on Earth,
Okay.
and then and that's what I saw you doing, like a little bit of realism at the time, and then it was the watercolor stuff, like, and it was just over and over, and like
Yeah, I had the 3 styles. I had the realism, I had the neotrad, and the watercolor. The watercolor definitely was the front runner on all of it. And it really took off when I went to Hart and Huntington, because I worked with this guy, Russell. Great guy, phenomenal artist. His Instagram handle is Find Your Smile. But he did watercolor, and when I started there, I got a lot of his runoff. So that kind of snowballed. And in the back of my brain, I'm like, I still want to do neotrad, but at Hart and Huntington, you don't really have a say-so in what you do. So you're kind of doing whatever they throw at you. So I was doing the realism, the traditional, the watercolor, the neotrad, the whatever. And it kind of got to the point where I was able to make it a little more directional, because I had a clientele base build up. And then once I got the job offer to work in Tampa at Momentum, it was Night Owl back then.
oh, that's yep.
I was kind of over the corporate aspect of Hart at that time. So I was like, you know, I just need a breath of fresh air. Like, I'm going to do it. Like, so I did a couple guest spots. I was like, I'm just going to pull the trigger and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
And I mean, it worked really, really well. Everyone there was fucking awesome. Really loved working with Billy, and Evan had just left, but Steve Baruth was there. Mark Drizza, Josh Presley, super talented people. And for me, it allowed me to transfer my watercolor more into the neotrad stuff, because I was getting burnt out on the watercolor stuff at that point. Even though I was able to do it, it wasn't something that I was super
You weren't passionate about it.
I wasn't
anymore.
passionate about it. Exactly. Yeah. But the neotrad stuff, with like how that made me feel, I was able to get more
Just
clientele
kind of
that
change
way.
lanes and like what.
Yeah,
what
just kind of,
used
it
to
wasn't
be.
like so much like a total reversal, because I was always doing it, but I was able to shift over.
I'm
and,
extremely envious, because like I
It's
feel like
hard. It's fucking hard.
that's like I'm trying to like extrapolate as
The-
much information
man.
as I can from this. It's like do I just start saying no to more stuff, and then
The
whatever's
one thing I
left
can
over?
compare it to is, like, let's say you have an Instagram and you have 50,000 followers. Delete that Instagram, start over from scratch, ground zero. That like overwhelming anxiety is like how I felt when I did it. But I had the support of clientele, and like, so it wasn't like a, oh, I fucked up moment. It was like, oh, this actually is working out,
Mhm.
and it's awesome.
That like letting go and not knowing of like just like
fucking
doing a hard reset of your tattoo career would
Terrifying.
be rough.
Oh, recently, when did I? For a minute, she probably knows better. I was gonna delete my Instagram and start over, because like I wasn't getting the reach and stuff. So I like deactivated my Instagram and started a new one. And like it was like less than 24 hours. I had like a full blown panic attack. I was like, I can't do it. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not restarting. I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna keep my stuff. Do you remember when that was?
2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I was.
You want to do it now?
No. No.
Suicide pact.
Yeah, no. No, not at all. I can't do it, dude.
Oh man, I don't have the reach for anything on the internet, so it's like
Man,
whatever.
just just have, like you were saying earlier, just have fun with it. Just do your thing.
Dude, that's why I put
just
silly
grow
jokes and stuff in
organically,
every
man.
post that I
Yeah.
do, like just because it's the way that makes the internet fun for me.
The problem with the internet and social media is it's a necessary evil. Um, clientele, it's the one thing that they're always on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to figure out a way to micromanage it to where it doesn't affect you mentally and hurt you, even if it helps you to like hire a marketing manager or someone that does it for you, to where you have that disconnect and you don't have to post and do all the stuff and read the comments and respond to them like you have someone doing it for you. I know a lot of people do that, and if it helps you mentally to take that route, do it in that aspect, especially because there's so many fucking tattoo artists now. Since COVID, I mean, holy shit, every mother, brother, sister, grandma fucking bought a kit off eBay and it started tattooing.
Yeah.
So now you're talking, they're 4-year tattooers at this point, opening
From
up
COVID
shops.
only,
Yeah,
yeah.
from COVID only, opening up shops. I mean, I know I said this on a previous podcast, but literally I just had Austin come in here and do a health inspection. And he said in the last 2 years, over 200 new shops opened in Pinellas County alone that he has inspected. And that's Pinellas County. That's not Hillsborough. Hillsborough is probably double that.
200.
200 new shops, not the ones that existed. And then I was like, no way, dude. So I did like a Google search of this shop, and within 3 miles, there's over 50 other tattoo shops within this shop. Is this where
We better
stare
be
at each
good.
other? That's the thing, man. You better be fucking good.
It's good. It's good that we're I got all my shit out 10 years ago. It's the only thing that keeps me competitive now.
Yeah. It's
That-
rough. It's rough out there.
200 more shops.
Yeah. And that's just here. So think of however many counties are in Florida or other states, whatever. We're not the only people going through this.
Because I've talked to a handful of other tattooers from different states and even different countries, and I'm like, what's going on? Is it slow over there too? And everybody's like, yeah, like maybe it's just maybe it actually is genuine oversaturation.
Yeah. And
Who knows?
that could definitely be a culprit. I had a few people when I made that post about like, how you guys doing? I had a bunch of tattooers reach out and like, not good. I had some people reach out from overseas. There was one guy specifically in Spain. He was like, you have to close down my studio. A well-known artist that I've been following for years. I'm like, man, dude, that's brutal.
Dude,
I mean, I guess this sounds bad saying it, but it'll weed people out and condense things a little bit. I don't think there's a need for as many shops. I think it would be beneficial for a lot of shops to close and things to go back to having more artists in shops versus your 1 or 2 tattooers in a private studio setting, right?
Yep.
You have shops that have 5 to 10 guys in it. Less shops, but there's more foot traffic. And I think that would be a really good turning point for tattooing. Because
the shop that I worked in Bradenton, actually, because they didn't offer it in Sarasota when I worked there, but they had piercing, and piercing got a lot of people in the door. It was bananas. And how many people just show up at the shop now? And I was like, you guys offer piercing? Like like the walk-in traffic from piercing only really augmented tattooing. And that's
we get calls every day. Like, you guys do piercings?
because Google doesn't separate piercing and tattoo shops. It's all the same stuff. So. Well, we got to get good so we stay busy.
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't seem like the kind of person that gets slow too often.
It's rough out there right now.
Yeah.
You guys are not alone. I promise you that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. It's not cool. That makes it feel like it's not so personal.
I mean,
no one's getting tattooed by me because they don't like me as a
no,
person.
not at all. And I've talked to a lot of people about it, and like even right now for me, rewind 3 years ago, I was damn near booking the next year, and I've even talked to some people recently where they said the same thing. And now it's like, I'm only booking out like a month or two, which the consistency of that is still decent.
I've the whole time I've been in Florida, I've really only booked out about a month or two.
Yeah.
That's really been about the peak of it. In Colorado, I got up to like 5 months or something like that. But like, and not that like we're measuring, but
Yeah.
still like a month keeps me busy. And like if people and like I've got a firm belief like that the money will be there when you need it. And if you, it shows. It's weird.
Again,
Like I'll go to work and then like it's weird. Like the universe like shows up. I leaned into it and it.
It really
up.
does. It does.
It's
the second
wild.
you're like, I'm gonna give up, and it's like, oh nope, here you go.
It's actually
it's
it's
like,
yeah, all the stuff that you gave
here you
up
go,
was
all
stuff that
this
you didn't
flattered,
need,
yeah.
and then it just
Exactly.
gets better.
Yeah. But I think it's important to hustle too. When it comes down to things getting slow, I think people got comfortable. Tattooing was very, very busy there for a few years because the way people's mindset is, it's very easy to like want and accept and adapt to a new norm. And so I think they assumed that that's the way it was going to be. But if you rewind a few years beyond that, like that's not the way it was. Like it was very cutthroat and dry, and there's slow seasons every year. Like we all went through it, and I think a lot of people forget that. And now I feel like it's kind of come full circle a little bit, and we're all experiencing that. And there's a lot more tattooers now, so it's even more so like holy fuck.
It's like at this point, like if you wanted to try and be a tattooer, like you gotta want to,
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah. And I think it's important to like want to be a tattooer. It's not a hobby, For me, tattooing is a lot more than that. So I was like, you know what? This is it. It like had that instant connect immediately. It was like, yeah, this is it. I put every part of my life that I had going on before that, like in the trash can. It was gone.
That's pretty much what I did too. Like it's like I quit tattooing so I could I did graphic design stuff with a dear friend of mine. His name's Aaron. But Aaron told me that he could guarantee me $300 a month, which was enough for me to to quit my job, like working in a warehouse and stuff. And then I did that while I was learning to tattoo. Like I had a friend of mine that also I went to school with, my dear friend Ronnie. He helped me get like into an apprenticeship, kind of. It was in a trailer park next to Waterworld in Denver.
I love that, dude.
It's like 92nd and Pecos for all of our Colorado fans out there.
Yeah.
It's right by Waterworld. It's
Yeah.
where that's where I learned to tattoo, and I got kicked out.
You got kicked out.
And then I learned by myself. My parents were separating at the time, and my mom would never let me tattoo in the house, and my dad would let me rip tats in the basement. So I lived with my dad while
That's
I did
super
that.
cool. That's so punk rock. Man. I love that.
Yeah, so I tattooed out of my house like with no guidance for like a year and a half. It was $20, whatever you wanted, as long as it took, and I would do it at your house. Like so, I tattooed out of a backpack for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like if I find those tattoos, if I find I know I have them.
I feel like there's a small margin of artists that didn't experience that. I did. It was bad. It was real bad. Like I put friends in the hospital and stuff.
The only people that I
had
really
no
messed up, I
business-
didn't care about them.
I had
which is
no
great.
fucking business tattooing out of the house at all.
Mm-mm. On carpet.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, gross.
Oh. God.
Oh, gross.
But hey, in your defense, that was probably pre-regulation. So
Colorado's pretty strict.
was it regulated back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Colorado's been like really rigid for a long
Shit,
time.
Not Florida.
No.
Up until 2013, I could tattoo a 10-year-old that walked through the door if they wanted it. Yeah.
Oh,
There was
man.
no
I just wouldn't
regulation
want to
on
hang
that,
out with a
dude.
10-year-old. Not
Yeah.
with that. Like, you want to try another tribal eagle?
Man, I worked for one guy that got pissed at me because I wouldn't tattoo this 14-year-old. He wanted like a half sleeve. I'm like, I'm not tattooing this 14-year-old kid, dude. My son's 13. Like, I couldn't imagine my son getting a fucking half sleeve a year from now. I'm like, I'm not doing that, dude. No way. But Florida law at the time, as long as the parent said yes, that's all that mattered. So.
No. Like Colorado was 16 with consent, and then 18 with whatever. Like all.
Yeah, 2013 it turned to 16 in Florida, and it's still the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Fun
even then,
fact
I don't
about
do
that.
it. I don't do it now because, man, minors, dude, divorced parents are a very common thing now.
Oh yeah.
And like, so you'd have dad come in and let his son or daughter like get this tattoo, and then the very next day, mom would come or dad would come storming through that fucking front door, pissed off. I'm like, why did you guys do this? I'm like, well, legally, it's parent.
I need money, and he
Yeah,
said
like,
yes. So like, looks like you're barking up the wrong tree.
I'm legally in my lane, so that's on you and your ex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it just became such a headache that I'm just like, I'm not going to deal with this anymore.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, as I get older, I just deal with less of them.
Yeah,
That's just how it goes. Like, and the stuff that I do for, like, I'll still tattoo a minor. I don't really, I mean, that's not something that I'm like above or whatever, but I just don't get asked to do it very often.
No.
And like the usually like even like a couple of weeks or a month wait time for something like that is enough to deter somebody. It's like, cool, you want your 16-year-old to get tattooed? It's like, how about, I mean, it's not that far away. How about how about March? Like, and then they're like, and it's like,
teenagers are the most impatient creatures on the planet. So
Yeah.
if you tell them more than a week, more than tomorrow,
Well,
actually, they're going to be like, yeah, no, I want it right
think
now.
about it. Like, it's like a week. If you've only been on Earth, call it 20 years, then a week is a much larger percentage of your life than it is even in your 30s.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like it's like, oh yeah, 10 years. For me, 10 years is like a good long time, but like I've experienced 10 years 3 times and change now. As a 10-year-old, you've only done that once. That's the longest amount of time. That's the longest you've done anything. Like, it's
I know
like
2 months summers feel like fucking 3 years.
yeah, dude. Like,
You know?
it's like, I remember going to school and like counting down the days like that I had to be at school. And it was just like, time was like flipping me off the whole time. It was like, it's going to go so slow. Your life is going to be sucky as long as possible.
Yeah.
Now
it feels like 3 hours.
Yeah, it was like COVID was like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
as a preteen, dude, oh my God, that was a decade ago.
All right.
But shit, dude, I think it's time to wrap it up.
Okay.
You know? Is that cool?
All right.
Yeah.
So I think since I did a mediocre job, I did a fantastic job. I'm gonna opening this up.
Don't short yourself.
Yeah, I did a great job, everyone.
Yeah.
I think you should take us out.
All right, I'll take us out. Thank you so much for hanging out, dude.
It has
I would
been-
love to do this again. I know our time is cut short, so I think we need like 2 episodes.
Okay.
If you're down, yeah.
I've
Cool.
any
Yeah.
excuse to come down and hang out with you again. I will take it at every time.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Give us all a follow, Zen Astray on Instagram. I don't know.
Listen, subscribe.
Yeah, that. Listen.
Follow us on social media. Buy a T-shirt.
Yeah, buy a T-shirt. Yeah, some
They look
great,
like this.
great shirts. Yeah,
Hit me up.
yeah,
They're cool.
yeah.
You have shirts too. Buy
Kinda.
Steve's, not that one,
We're-
but buy
no.
Steve's shirts. Look at the
We
shirt
have a
I was.
couple left before
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
we
Look
sip-
at the shirt
we
I was
sip
wearing
it.
earlier in the
Yeah.
episode and buy that one from
Yeah,
Steve.
there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Peace.